Hello there, my dear friends. I'm Max, or Terrier55Stepney, and I've got the shirt to prove it. And if you're watching this video, I hope that you're one of the 50,000 people who have decided to subscribe to my channel. And if you are, I want to say a huge thank you. And if you're not one of those, then please do. 50,000 subscribers is lovely, but imagine if we got to 55,000. Now that sounds like a good number. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let me be grateful for what I've got, which is all of you guys who are interested in watching me make videos about trains. Now, my content has changed an awful lot over the years. I've had my channel since I was quite young, and I think it's grown up with me, and the content I make is ever evolving, hopefully to bigger and better things. It's difficult to try and balance making the videos that I've been known for in the past and making new things, whilst all the while making videos that I enjoy. But one thing's for certain, it's almost always going to involve trains, and I don't regret that in the slightest. So today I thought I'd be a little bit transparent and show you how I make my videos on the channel. Mainly indoor ones, so things with models or documentaries, things like that. We'll do a separate video showing how I go out and film in person at real railways and such. It may not be of interest to you. You may just be here to watch a casual video whilst you're having your breakfast or whatever, but it's quite helpful to see behind the scenes on some of these sort of channels. I definitely enjoy that, so you can see sort of what goes into it and why I make some of the crazy decisions that I do. How about a little challenge, actually? If I get to, say, 100,000 subscribers by this time next year, let's set an ambitious target, I will recreate the first ever video on YouTube. Not my first ever video, but the first ever video, which is me at the zoo, because I've been told that I look like the guy in that video. That won't be about trains, but yeah, I'll go to a zoo and I'll film that of recreation if I get to 100,000 subscribers by this time next year. Hold me to that. So let's start with a studio tour. I call this a studio because it is where I make all my videos, and I'll talk about the equipment that I use to film my videos as well, and some of the editing techniques and problems I've faced along the way.
A day in the life of Terrier55Stepney. I wake up, fall out of bed, drag a comb across my head. No, that's a lie. A comb does nothing with my hair. I am absolutely one of those people that says don't talk to me until I've had my morning tea or coffee, so that is first thing to do before we get any work done. Stepney mug, Stepney mug, Stepney mug, Stepney mug. It's the Stepney mug thing. Just on the off chance, in case they ever want to sponsor a video sometimes, I use Yorkshire tea, a massive bag of it, not all at once. Although I suppose I've just given them a free promotion, so you're welcome. Can I have another one of these bags, please? I go through a lot of tea. I'm very British. Okay, time for a little Terrier55Stepney studio tour. And what will we find if we open this door? I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it's a cat. Oh, I'll never have one of those again. It's another cat. How did you get over there? We have two cats. Anyway, we're not here for the cats. This is the studio. It's a room in my house, basically. It's nice to have like a, I'd say professional, but it's a very YouTubey background, isn't it? Look, I read books and I make models and things like that. Yeah, there's models scattered everywhere from many years ago. Watermill from like 2015, a genuine lamp, fire station from Great Mill Railway Show, Scarloey stuff from a year or two ago, Big Mickey, 2015 again. I've got a display cabinet for some of the smaller pieces. Here's some of the stop motion stuff I've made. All the narrow gauge Scarloey engines, pride of place. I have to make sure that they're not wearing their faces when people come round because very scary. More models and pins and stuff like that. And then boxes. So YouTube sent me this lovely neon sign which I can use in the background of my videos now. They've also sent me a box which
contains small little box-shaped items, which I'm going to build now because I don't know where else to do it in a video, and it's a good use to show what I do on the modelling desk. Box. A map of Sodor, as you do. Another display cabinet filled with the 00 engines. I really need to get an engine to fill that space, hopefully arriving soon. Titanic, just to shake things up a bit, and a headboard from my old layout. Over here in this very plain corner is where I film all of my model videos. And the cats you saw, Bramble and Nettle, they are officially credited as the studio runners because they ran around the studio when I was filming. And then Cat. This is Bramble. He was a very small kitten when we first started filming. Now, obviously, at the moment, I'm not filming anything. It's just a bare board, but I would have the sky backdrop pinned up to the edge around there, and that is partly why I painted this wall light blue, in case even when the sky isn't there, it's a nice sort of easy background to film on. Bramble absolutely loves this studio light. He likes trying to climb inside it. I have 2 of these. They're obviously used for photography backgrounds, but it gives a nice even light to the whole set, and I can have an orangey light to it as well if I need to. And then Cat. Yes, you can see it's quite chaotic when I'm trying to film with tiny little models, or worse so in stop motion, where I can't move anything. Above my door, since I've moved in, there has always been a sneaky little Feathers McGraw looking down on everything I do. No one who comes around questions it, which is nice. There's also Thunderbird 1, which is slightly less related. You might look up and just catch it in the corner of your eye and think, oh, it's a spider or something, but no, it's a chicken. This is my editing desk. This is where all the videos are put together. We have a side here for models to be made, and it's never usually this clean when there is a model actually being built, but it's handy being able to have this space here and then being able to go straight over there to actually film with the models. And then this is my computer desk setup. Usually I will have the editing program up here and all my files and folders there, and yeah, so I can keep nice and organised. It also means that if I need to check anything that I've filmed, I can just take the card from the camera and see what it looks like immediately. I'm very grateful to my future brother-in-law who built the computer, which I would be lost without. I used to have just a laptop, and that never suited. A rough video schedule, which doesn't look very professional, but when I'm planning out my videos, I need to know what's coming out in which week, and I need to know that it has to come out at least a week early to go on Patreon, so I know which ones will take ages and they have to be made well in advance. When you got at least 1 video a week and most often another short every week as well, that's a lot of videos to keep track of, and some take longer than others to make. 50,000 subscribers, Nettle, and you're not one of them. How could you? I don't pay you enough for this. You got anything to say to the 50,000 subscribers, Bramble? No, I thought not. I'm sure he loves you really. Obviously I've got this artwork from Mike O'Donnell, one of the original composers from Thomas the Tank Engine, with a print of Stepney's theme on the wall, and a Beatles thing, because I guess they're connected now. Holly made me this lovely cross-stitch Tala Flynn many years ago, and I love it so much. She's so skilled. I don't know how she's done this. It was a surprise, so I never saw her doing it, but isn't that cool? I did ask if she could also make another one in red, but this took so long to make, so I understand if not.
Like all creative hobbies, my videos first start out as ideas. I make a range of different content, so inspiration can come from anywhere. But if there's something that's got potential, then I'll write it down because it can be forgotten just as quickly as it was thought of. Story or animation ideas especially need to be just right before I decide to make them, so I will adjust those notes until they're cohesive. The way I've described my writing process to people is that it's like wine or cheese. I like to let a script concept sit around for a few weeks or months as I rethink it in my mind, then come back to those notes from a new angle, often wondering why I came up with the original idea at all. The Guide Rail documentary series is a bit different, as that takes research into a particular place or vehicle before I compress its history into my own words. My personal rule is that I have to have visited that place in person before I can make a video of it. So I have a chart that shows me everywhere that I've already made a video of and what I could document next. It isn't a high budget documentary series, rather an attempt to promote some of those places to new visitors and give something back to the heritage groups that feature on my channel. Having said that, I will spend a good amount of time researching books, websites and documentaries on the video subject to outline the histories of what I'm talking about as accurately as I can. Next is the script, which is written just like this. Most of my videos are scripted, and it should be quite obvious which parts aren't. The stories have many changes as they're being produced, and will be proofread by others to make sure everything flows as it should. That's not including the ad-lib from the cast, which will be thrown into the mix, of course. Then I will record the lines. Then I will record the lines. Then I will record the lines, until there's enough variations for me to choose from.
Focus.
I get very gestury when I'm recording lines as well. It's like it's recording studio, you've got to put energy into it. And I am not someone that evokes a lot of energy in person. It picks up a lot of the sounds, so one that comes up on the audio a lot, and it makes me have like a speech impediment because I've got to try and not speak like that. And secondly, it makes the cats come running usually. It's that audio which is edited first. I go through and chop up anything unusable, often combining different takes together. It's then bunched up ready for the visuals. As I make videos on so many different topics, I have to be extremely organised when it comes to storing footage. If I'm talking about a Maunsell U class, for example, it saves a bunch of time if I remember when I recorded one, and can find that clip exactly where it should be. You can imagine how much harder it would be to edit stop motion projects, which require thousands of photos, if they weren't stored away properly. The same applies for the stories, as most recently I filmed 4 episodes and a handful of additional videos, all simultaneously across 12 different sets, none of which could be built or dismantled at the same time. The scripts were highlighted to make sure that I didn't miss any scenes and need to rebuild an entire set. I have gathered years worth of footage of various trains, models, you name it, and I also gratefully have permission to use footage from a couple of neighbouring channels as well. I'd love to talk more about how I film my content out in the wild in a separate video, so subscribe to not miss that, though I hope you already are.
How you doing, camera? Hope you're recording.
Regarding the stories, I've got a whole playlist of how I've made each of those, which you should check out after this more general look at how my content is made. Back to editing generally, the clips are added according to the audio, and then I will listen back to make sure that it's all spaced out enough, adding longer pauses if it's all too rushed, as I do tend to talk quickly and my voice usually gets higher each time I do a retake. I go through several passes to make everything the same aspect ratio, do colour correcting, and add any video effects or text. On the audio side, I'll find a suitable music track and adapt the pacing accordingly. We do love a montage on this channel. The volumes and the panning are changed so nothing is overpowering. With the dialogue, I'll cut out any breathy sounds and gradually fade in each piece. I always make sure to crossfade the audio from the visuals as well, so it's not such a sudden change. When the first draft is rendered and being uploaded, I'll go back and edit the thumbnail, write the description, add the end screens, all of that stuff. Then get it ready to release on Patreon. Having self-taught myself to edit videos, there's many tricks and tips I've picked up, and I am very much inspired by similar content creators who do the same.
To you, a 10 to 20 minute video like this one will be over in 10 to 20 minutes, but to produce it varies greatly depending on the complexity of what it is I'm making. For instance, my Terrier Travels vlogs are simple enough to edit because there's no script or lines to record, but still gathering all the footage and adding the text, doing the colour correcting, adding the audio, still takes about 2 days. A guide rail documentary is a bit more complex because I have to research the topic beforehand and then order all of the footage chronologically so that the dates line up with what I'm talking about. A story, like the Thomas stuff I filmed recently, takes models to be built before anything is even filmed, and often there's delays waiting for music to come back or lines recorded from others, so usually they'll be worked on in the background and that can take weeks or months. Then there's stop motion, which can take a day to even animate a couple of seconds. So naturally they are the biggest scope projects. They take months to work on, even working non-stop. There are loads of projects I would like to work on, of all of those and more, but I have to be really sensible as to what I can achieve within the time I've got, so that I've got some sort of balance between quantity and quality, and that's not easy. This is where I need to thank my supporters on Patreon, and don't go anywhere, this is only half an advert for that, but sincerely, they allow me to have the time to spend on some of those projects that I otherwise wouldn't be able to complete. Part of the reason, as I mentioned, that the Clever Little Engine stories took so long is that I needed to build all of the engines, the rolling stock, and the sets for that, and having my Patreon supporters meant that they could be higher quality instead of just cardboard cutouts. Similarly, with my Terrier Travels vlogs and the guide rails, having the patrons means that I can travel to further places to film new videos and answer some of the requests for the topics that you guys want me to film. Similarly, over time, I've been able to put more into the equipment that I need to make these videos, which consequently means that I can produce them quicker and to a higher quality. I will do a rundown of all of the tech stuff that I use to make my videos, if anyone is interested. But firstly, I need to say thank you to all of my patrons for allowing me to make bigger and better videos for the channel. If you want to join, then the link's in the description. If you're not one of them, there's the advert.
What I use to run the channel is ever-changing, but at current I use the following. My main camera, both for filming models and for days out, is a Canon 250D DSLR, either with the stock 18 to 55mm lens, or a 70 to 300mm zoom lens. I tend to only shoot in 60 frames per second for clips that I want slowed down to half speed. But overall, this is an extremely versatile, lightweight camera and I put it through a lot.
Probably more difficult doing this with a camera.
As a backup, I usually carry my previous camera, a Sony Handycam, which is crying out to be replaced. Although the quality is far worse, the 54x zoom makes it an ideal close-up camera. I also have a cheap GoPro knockoff, which is handy for some of the more high-risk shots.
Okay.
Failing all that, there's always the phone. To cover all bases, I often have 2 or 3 cameras set up on tripods, filming trains from different angles. A gorilla pod is usually clinging to a tree branch or fence post, whilst the main tripod is taking the wider shots. In terms of audio, if not using the built-in microphone, I now fit the camera with a Hollyland Lark M1. This has 2 wireless mics, which is perfect for recording interviews or audio from 2 sources. It's extremely easy to set up and compact to carry around. I used to use a Rode mic, as used in my video on austerity tanks recently, but the quality is just too poor. This tea went a long time ago, but the cup's nice. I've always got a couple of LED lights in case I go exploring in tunnels or something. And back in the studio, I use 2 Andoa softbox lights to illuminate the model sets. I have a slider which attaches to the tripod, allowing the camera to follow the trains for about 1 meter. A fog machine is used for steam or smoke effects, the type used in theatres or by DJs. Whilst you're out clubbing, I'm here making little trains go chuff. Who's got the better life? Another nifty gadget is this jewellery turntable, which I bought specially for the model showcase videos. And of course, making the models themselves requires a vast range of tools. When recording lines, like now, I use a Blue Yeti mic. And to edit everything together, I use Sony Vegas Pro. You might not have cared what I use to film my videos, but I do get comments asking me, so now you know.
There we go. That is a day in the life of Terrier55Stepney. For anyone who wanted that, probably not many. But, oh, I so wish I could change my channel username. I wish I could go back in time and make a channel name that sounds a little bit better. It's too late now. There's 50,000 of you watching this that know me by that name, so thanks for that, I guess. I'd love to know at what point you all started watching my videos. What was the first video you remember on my channel seeing, and what actually made you subscribe? Because maybe that'll entice me to make more videos like that if there's a common theme. But also, it's nice to see how far along the journey you've been with me. So let me know in the comments what the first video was, or what your favourite is, so I can possibly make more. Or cringe at how far back it was and never make something like that ever again. We'll see. As an extra little treat, I'm going to make a playlist with all of my old videos, because I've had a lot of requests for people to see particular ones. Just out of nowhere, videos that have been unlisted for nearly 10 years, people go, oh, can I see that again? And it's like, oh. And I've made them unlisted because I don't want to watch them, but you know, I don't want that on the channel. But you know, okay, if there's interest, then yes. to celebrate 50k, I'll make a playlist with all of the the old cringy stuff, so enjoy that. Once again, I need to just say thank you to my patrons, first of all. Thank you to everyone who's been on the channel and supported me in making the videos, because it certainly is not me on my own. And then, of course, thank you to all of you guys for watching and subscribing. I would say subscribe for more and all of that, but you kind of get the point by now. But yeah, let's see where we go from here. Oh boy, I don't know what the future holds. Let's find out together. What a sour note to end this on, but thank you.
Many thanks to my brilliant channel patrons: Alex Goodman, GBH Train, D0280 Falcon, Sean Tempest, Random Thomas Fan, Dark White 73, Andrew Dyack, Reese Lee Walter, Ryan RTS, Ewan Pentland, Steam Power 4472, Jude 72, Firewind 10, Suddery Rails, Lunaker's Photography, Mario Sonic 64, Elias, and Soda Fox Art.